Hi, this is Woody from Obadiah's. We're looking at the Baker's Oven Vermont Bun Baker conversion. This is one of the only stoves that I offer that qualified for the tax credit due to its efficiencies and how clean it burns. This is a steel stove made in Australia by Pecan Engineering. It's known as the Nectar over there. In the States, it's known as the Baker's Oven. A lot of folks call and want to know what's the difference between a Vermont Bun Baker and the Baker's Oven. There's nothing different other than it's wrapped with soapstone. This is the soapstone surround that goes over the Baker's Oven and creates a much denser thermal mass structure around the stove to retain heat. It's got a hearth pad right here that will go underneath it, but it's currently bolted to the floor. I have to unbolt this to get the hearth pad in. I'll have to drill some holes through the soapstone in order to bolt the stove and the hearth pad down. Hopefully we can do that without breaking anything. This is a really slick unit. I'm very impressed. Paul Thompson from Vermont Marble does the soapstone, and he's created a excellent stove out of what used to be a very good stove. So thanks a lot, Paul. You've done a wonderful job. And Paul was gracious enough to provide us with the soapstone so we could test it on our own stove, and so we could actually tell people more about it, and I'm very impressed. This is the soapstone that it all started with right here. And this is a actual piece from a soapstone fireplace. This is a side, and there's pins that hold it together. As you can see, it's very thick, very dense. Soapstone stoves are famous worldwide for their ability to retain heat, like a masonry product. That used to sit up on top of my stove, and that is where I got the idea that soapstone would be a wonderful thing on the stove. And this is the end product. So I think it's a great idea, and it works well, and so we're very impressed. I'm not a cook, I'm not a chef, so I can't go there with you guys as far as how well this thing works in that regard. But I can give you some readings. The stove's been going about an hour. We got 200 and about 50 degrees or so, depending on where you're at, near the teapot. The hottest part of the stove is this little grate here. The temp's around in here, around 400. So this is more of a convection heat coming out of here. You can feel the air moving up here. The soapstone is going to give you a radiant heat. It's going to absorb the spikes in the temperature. We're in a very small trailer. Inside the oven, it's 166 degrees. On the bottom of the oven, it's 287. On the side of the oven, it's about 165. Like I said, I've not engaged the oven. I can pretty much touch the door, so it's not hot. I can put my hand on the rack. It's not that hot. On the top, back here, the temperature is about 177. And it cools down. We're just now, I wanted to see how long this would stay warm. We burned it last night, and the fire went out about 6 this morning. I came in at 10. The soapstone was still too hot to touch. Temperature in here was about 65. It was 28 degrees outside. So temps on the sidewall, 110. It's going to be hotter towards the top, colder towards the bottom. So that's about the temperature where we started here about an hour ago, about 60 or so, because that's what the temperature was in here. So it is definitely amazing. We also have the draw collar. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we're going to do an experiment with the draw collar, showing you how well it will work. My problem has always been with the stove. When I pull the lever to direct the smoke down below, I get puffing out the top of the area where the air wash is for the glass. There is no gasket on the top part of this door. It's a U-shaped gasket. It goes down and up. It's open on the top. That's how the glass stays clean. There's a heat shield on the stove. You can run the stove very hot and hold your hand on the back. The same thing with the sides, even without the soapstone. This gap here is your convection. This stove picks up cold air off the floor. There is a little groove here, not a groove, but a gap underneath this soapstone thing. Let me move it out of the way. This stuff is so heavy. It's absolutely unbelievable how heavy this stuff is. It's very dense. This is what used to be on top of my stove. But anyhow, there's an airspace down here. Hopefully you can see my hand. Cool air comes in under the stove, goes underneath and convects up, and then comes forward. With the soapstone, you can see there's a gap, so you still get the convection heat coming out from this gap, yet the soapstone still gets plenty hot. I like that idea. I can feel the convection heat. Convection will heat up the area furthest away from the stove back there and where we sleep, much better than radiant heat will. Radiant heat is going to heat the guy that's sleeping up here. He'll be nice and toasty. We'll be freezing. So you want to have some convection. So this is Woody from Obadiah's. We're going to do the draw collar next. So talk to you later. Bye.